This is Henares making your day with the second part of a book I wrote entitled Philippine History, Part 2, The Chismis of the Nation. Now, General Dugout Dog MacArthur returned to the Philippines like William the Conqueror and acted as if the title of the King of the Philippines was hereditary, that he inherited from his father. He imprisoned all Filipino leaders except one, Manuel Rojas, whom he practically bludgeoned the Filipino people to elect as president of the new Philippine Republic. The Americans then imposed upon the Philippines unequal treaties that gave them military bases and equal parity rights to exploit the country's natural resources. The entire history of the post-war years was characterized by absolute control of the Philippine government by the United States CIA spy agency, which is low-intensity conflict policy of pitting Filipinos against Filipinos as cannon fodder in its holy war against the Soviet Union, aborting the Philippines' drive to our industrialization so that our country can serve as a vegetable garden to the industrial economies of its Asian allies, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore. Its penchant of subverting our elections to secure the presidency of its Filipino lackeys and subverting our foreign policy to serve only the interests of Mother America. Throughout this entire period, the only person who stood on America's way was Senator Don Claro M. Recto of the Philippines. So in our entire period of so-called independence, only three events stood out. One, the lapse of the parity rights in the Laula-Langley Agreement in 1974. Number two, the people-powered EDSA revolution of 1986, which inspired the fall of the communist world and the end of the Cold War, and the liberation of the oppressed peoples of Asia, Africa, and South America from oppressive military dictatorships. Number three, the repudiation of American military bases in 1992 and the subsequent return of the American military under the Visiting Forces Agreement of 1999. And thus ends the author's version of his country's history. And he, that means me, he will tell this story as Father Horacio de la Costa might have done, as the chismis gossip of a nation aborting. More about this after these messages. This is Larry Henares making your day with part 2 of Philippine history, the chismis of the nation. And me now tell you that history from the very beginning. My dear friends, rewind back when Rome was still a cluster of mud huts. China already had a highly developed civilization. There was always a tremendous market for Oriental goods among the Europeans even then. Even long before Marco Polo actually visited the Far East. As a matter of fact, for the purchase of Oriental silks, spices, and jewels, there had once been a run on gold that drove the Roman Empire to near bankruptcy. Like us, they lost their foreign exchange reserves by importing too much spices and luxuries. On the heels of Christianity arrived the new religion of Islam. The world of Islam within 100 years electrified men's minds by spreading rapidly east from the Middle East across Arabia to India to the East Indies, including what is now Malaysia and the Philippines and Indonesia. At the same time, Islam spread west across the desert wastes of North America to Gibraltar, to Spain and parts of France, even knocking at the gates of Vienna in Austria, capturing Constantinople, now known as Istanbul, Islam found itself athwart the trade routes to the Far East. Now it is simply impossible for the modern 20th century man to comprehend what the Oriental trade was worth, particularly in spices. Their plenitude today makes them cheap. But there was a time ordinary pepper was worth its weight in gold. As late as the 17th century, during the Napoleonic Wars, when the English Navy blockaded continental Europe, pepper was sold at $462 per pound in France. As a matter of fact, the spices grown by the English in Jamaica paid 1/3 of the cost of defeating Napoleon Bonaparte. For hundreds of years, since the Crusades, Europeans paid fabulous prices for spices from Southeast Asia. Cinnamon, cloves, ginger, pepper, and the myriad spices of the Orient were the tang of life to Europeans. Then as now, civilized men could do without necessities, but the luxuries they must have. And it is this obsession that gave birth to the age of discovery. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Larry Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.